Welcome back to the show. I am so pleased to have here on our set Stephen Tryon, who is the author of Accountability Citizenship. And really, the list of things you do beyond this is so long. I'm quite amazed. So you work with Overstock.com as their liaison for international. Would you tell me what exactly it is?
Joe, thanks for having me on this morning. First of all, it's a great opportunity to talk about accountability citizenship. But I'm real proud of the fact that I do work for Overstock.com right here in the Salt Lake Valley, and I run their human resources.
Human resources, there we go.
And their international business.
Excellent.
The human resources is interesting because actually what I do in accountability citizenship is I apply performance management techniques to how we can improve and manage the performance of our elected officials.
Excellent. Well, it certainly does kind of go right along with this. Your career in the Army, you were a lieutenant colonel when you retired. You went to West Point as well.
That's correct.
And I have to imagine that was quite an experience because you went there when it was an awfully tough place to go. I think it remains quite tough, but in the day, I've always imagined it was quite something there.
It's a great institution, and I'm getting ready to celebrate my 30th reunion with my classmates from the class of 1983 this fall. But you know, the young men and young women who are attending the military academy today have it just as tough as anybody, and in fact they come right out of the service and they volunteer to go into the academy during a time when our nation's at war, and they're coming right out into combat. So
yeah, that's certainly a tough element of it. Many of us graduated right at the time when things were difficult. Which is, I wonder if that will continue, how much longer that will continue. But that being said, I think that brings us to the conversation here at hand, which is really about our accountability as citizens and what we're willing to do to affect the changes we want to see in our government. And one of the things that your book brings out right at the outset is that many people don't vote when there isn't a vote for a president. That when we're on the off-season votes, we simply don't participate. Why do you suppose that is?
Well, you know, Joe, it's funny when you have the number of people that opt out is so large that, of course, there's a whole range of reasons why people don't participate. But with accountability citizenship, I'm trying to focus on those people who feel disempowered and who feel maybe even perhaps a little bit intimidated by the confrontational dialogue that we seem to get into whenever it comes time for an election. And I think that there are some very simple tools that we can teach people to be effective citizens in the information age. You know, really, the way we process and distribute information today has changed radically over the last 50 years. And I think it discourages effective citizenship unless you're an active consumer of both information and government. And that's really one of the central points that I try to bring out in the book. And then I try to give people some tools, some easy tools that they can use to help become effective consumers of both information and government.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that part of it, which is, I suppose, I would even say disenfranchised might be the right word. At least I certainly felt like my government has no idea about me particularly. We're looking at a number of 83% dissatisfaction with Congress.
That's correct.
What is Congress going to do if they're going to do something about this? What can they do to fix this?
Well, the Wall Street Journal says 83%, and I saw in the news a number of 77%, but either way, that's an incredibly high disapproval rating with Congress. And you'll see on my shirt here, the number that I try to highlight is 87%.
Right.
87% for me is the magic number because that's that wonderful document that we live under, the Constitution of the United States, gives us the power to change 87% of Congress every 2 years. And you know what a blessing that is to have a system of government where we can go to the polls every 2 years. The fact that, you know, the observation I guess I would make is that if 83% of us are dissatisfied with Congress and we have the power to change 87% of Congress every 2 years, that sort of reinforces my point that we have an engagement issue.
Well, especially when they were almost all elected again in this last cycle. Nearly everyone, it was over 90%, were reelected.
My friend Patrick Byrne says oftentimes that when you're in a room full of people, everyone feels that they're taller than average. And I think sometimes people tend to project problems onto a large organization like Congress, but then they don't bring those the source of those problems back to their particular representative. You know, we have some fantastic public servants up there serving us in Congress. I was just in Washington 3 weeks ago. I was able to speak with Congressman Jim Matheson, and I was able to speak with the staff of Jason Chaffetz. And what I told them about the disapproval rating is I believe, as an internet executive, there are a couple of very simple things that every member of Congress can do immediately that would dramatically improve their public approval rating. The first thing is they can update their websites.
Right.
You know, their websites are basically...
They're re-election tools only, it seems.
Yeah, they're electronic bulletin boards.
Yeah.
It's 1990s technology. And what would really be helpful, not only in improving their approval rating, but also in engaging this younger generation of voters, is if they brought some of the 21st century technology that every internet business has.
Right.
You know, all the banks in the country, you can go online and you create a secure account and you can handle your most sensitive transactions online. There's no reason why you and I can't have a secure account with our congressmen and with both our senators. And we log in with our voter's registration number, a password, and we're able to convey to that congressman what our values are and what the issues are that are most important to us. And then the congressman, as a reward, and this is really the important part, can project back to us and tell us back what our constituents, what our fellow constituents are asking them to do. Because we can't hold them accountable, Joe.
If we're the only one asking?
Well, if we don't know what everybody else is asking them to do. If we only know what the letter is that we've written.
Sure.
We don't know what everybody else has written. They become sort of information brokers. And what I'd like them to do is I'd like them to bring their websites into the 21st century, allow us to have these secure accounts, and then you're going to find that that's a call to action. You know, internet executives, marketing people especially, would like to talk about a call to action. Well, it's an invitation for us to get our views and to communicate our views directly to the member of Congress. And then there's a value proposition too, because we get back from that this picture of what everybody else is telling the congressmen in our district or our senators to do.
I certainly love this in principle because I call often. But I also feel, and this is, and tell me if I can count on this to be different, because I want it to be. When I do call, or if you went back to the old days where we actually went and sat in their office for a minute, got a moment with them and said, hey, I really need you to help me out with, farm, with my farm and things that are happening there, or aviation, or whatever the case is. Will we get back the true feedback of what's really being said to them? Will we know better what their voting was? Because that's the one thing it seems like is always an argument, a contention point, is that the voting record, although it's out there in the public, never seems to reflect what really happened. I didn't vote for that. Yes, you did. And then it goes the other way just as often. Do you think that we'll actually get more transparency if we do these things?
Joe, we can. And one of the tools I highlight in the book is votesmart.org. It's this wonderful nonpartisan website, and there's a political courage test on that website. And I think that every member of Congress should take that political courage test. That's the other thing that would dramatically improve their public approval rating. It would give us one standard by which to judge what a member of Congress stands for. And the members of Congress themselves and the staffers, for many years now have the level of participation in that political courage test has decreased. In the 1990s, about 78% of the members of Congress had taken that political courage test. In 2010, it was less than 20% who had taken it.
Wow.
And to me, that's a litmus test.
I'll say.
The basic message of accountability citizenship is identify those values that are most important to you, and then focus your engagement with the information stream to become well-informed, balanced on those issues that are most important to you, and then engage on those issues that are most important to you. And I believe if we all do that we will see a wholesome consensus emerge on a lot of these issues that so far we think are too hard for us to solve or to tackle.
We only have a moment or two left, but that's what we will learn in this book then, is how to engage in our specific argument, what we are looking to do as citizens. Is that right?
That's correct. I'm not here to tell anybody what to vote for. I just want to help us all be better consumers of information and consumers of government, and I think we can get to a better place.
It's a lovely picture of you and your son there. This is at your retirement, is that right?
That's right. That was my retirement ceremony in 2004, and that's a particularly poignant picture for me. My father was a soldier as well.
Right.
I really love that particular photo. I asked Jacob if I could use that picture on the cover, and he gave me his permission. And since he helped me edit parts of the book and caught some stuff that I had missed, I was pretty proud to have him on there as well.
You know, I love this because this reminds me of myself and my grandfather when he retired as well, and it's a great picture there, and a terrific book. I'm hoping that people get involved here, because the one thing that I can tell you is, as I ask my friends when they're complaining about different aspects of government, they rarely are saying to me, well, I say, well, did you call? Did you talk to anybody?
Right.
Well, no. Well, you can't complain if you don't participate.
Absolutely right.
That's
and the best
really
legacy we can leave our children, all of us, really, is an effective government, and one that's working for us as citizens. So,
is there a website that accompanies the book?
Actually, I have a Facebook page that's Accountability Citizenship, and then there's accountabilitycitizenship.org, which I've started, and it just sort of reflects some of the book reviews and some other thoughts. And I hope to engage some people with some polls as we go forward. I'm really marching towards 2014. My number one value is every congressman. I won't vote for any incumbent in the future unless they've taken the political courage test and unless they've updated their website.
I think that's the very least we can ask of them.
That's right.
Colonel, thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for your service as well.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back with more on the Mountain Morning Show. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. We've got the Summit County Fair. We've got the girls from the pageant here in studio to be on the show in just a moment. We'll be right back.